When people wake up, they generally go through the same stages as someone who becomes bereaved. You go through an anger phase, a depression phase. You'll blame whoever is handy, and then hopefully you emerge from it and you become active and you want to learn what's really going on and what has been going on.
The process of waking up to what is really going on in the world is the exact same process as grieving for a lost loved one. Psychologists call this the 5 stages of loss and grief. I personally woke up in 2008, and as of last summer, I have now completed all 5 stages. The first stage is denial and isolation. In terms of waking up, this is where you say, "No, that can't be true. I was taught in school that it happened this way," or "That can't be true. My parents told me, blah, blah, blah." Those in this stage tend to take a giant step backwards and isolate themselves while their brain attempts to process the information. Only about 50% of people move past this stage. The other 50% permanently stay in this stage, with most simply forgetting about the info and blindly moving on with their lives. The second stage is anger. The initial 50% of people that move on to this stage end up becoming enraged upon waking up. They become rebels and begin lashing out at anyone and everyone who they perceive as their enemies, such as police officers, judges, or other so-called authority figures, and even those like myself who have completed all 5 stages and are merely attempting to help them. Those who lack the mental ability to move past this step typically become anarchists. Most of the time, these people end up in trouble with the law due to their anarchistic and uneducated contempt for any perceived authority figure. The third stage is called bargaining. Those who make it into this stage of waking up often turn to some form of religious figure or other cult-like personality to help answer the questions that they have, as they are incapable or unwilling to do their own research. Based on YouTube views, this is where you find the largest majority of semi-awakened people. Collectively, they are referred to as the New Age movement, or as I like to call it, the Fantasy Truth movement. To quote rocker Marilyn Manson from a recent interview, "I created a fake world because I didn't like the one I was living in." Essentially, stage 3 people are full-out conspiracy theorists who have completely rejected reality and now choose to live in an online fantasy soap opera world where everything is bliss and you are told not to do anything more. Just sit back because the aliens or the dragon family are going to save the world. Everyone will be given $5 billion out of some magical OPP trust fund. People in general are sheep. They are followers, and as such, followers require leaders. Those who do not progress past stage 3 are actually quite happy and content in their chosen roles of being either a leader or a follower in their fantasy New Age movement, and no amount of facts, evidence, or knowledge will ever convince them to leave this stage. The 4th stage is called depression. Those who do progress past stage 3 are people who have decided to forsake following phony online cult leaders in favor of taking their own destiny into their own hands. They are not simply satisfied with believing online conspiracy theories and have started to actually do their own independent research. This is where the dividing line takes hold, the division between conspiracy theorists of stage 3 and the truthers of stage 4. However, upon doing their own independent research, many do get depressed, as it is a daunting, time and energy-consuming task that very few people actually complete. This stage is where many truthers get permanently stuck in, as they are eternally searching for the answers to their questions. This is where you find people like Alex Jones and his staff at InfoWars. I personally was stuck in this stage from 2011 through to the summer of 2014, at which point I canceled my InfoWars subscription. There are two types of depression associated with this stage. The first is that of the reaction to the practical implications of discovering the real truth for yourself. Basically, questions of, what do I do now? Take control. The second type of depression is more subtle and more private. It is our quiet preparation to separate and bid farewell to the life that we were groomed to lead and accept ever since we entered public school. The fifth stage of waking up is acceptance. Acceptance of the contracts that you voluntarily entered into with the government in ignorance, and acceptance that you 100% own responsibility for your own voluntary actions. And most importantly, acceptance of what is moral versus what is immoral. For example, failing to pay road toll fees, as Santos Bonacci did, is in fact immoral, as it is actually theft under contract law, the contract being the driver's license that he voluntarily begged for. Reaching this stage is not a gift afforded to everyone. In fact, out of the initial 50% that made it past stage 1, I surmise that less than 5% actually make it through completing all 5 stages. This final stage is marked by withdrawal and a quiet sense of calm, with the knowledge and understanding that what you are doing is not only 100% legal, but it is also 100% lawful. The moral of this story is, those who have not passed stage 5, as I have, are not actually awake at all. They will still play the role of the victim of slavery. They will whine and complain about how their slave masters are violating their rights, and that all cops are pigs and all judges are corrupt, and they will accomplish absolutely nothing by doing so. It literally took me from October 2008 until July 2014 to complete all 5 stages of waking up, which is when I decided to abandon production on my last film, Illusion of Power, as it was something I needed to do for myself in order to free myself from the burdens of waking up. Now I know in my own heart that I am no man's slave, and unlike most people, I do not fear the Matrix, aka the legal system, as I completely understand it, and much like Neo in the Matrix, I can voluntarily choose to enter the Matrix or choose to exit it at will. I have no need to, quote, lose the name, but rather I can choose when or if I wish to use the name. In my heart, I have become Neo, which in reality is merely the anagram for one, or the individual. After all, isn't this what it's all about? Individualism versus collectivism? To anyone watching this video, I urge you to please complete all 5 stages of waking up, but enjoy the ride. Take in the scenery, as it is all a learning experience.
What if the greatest epidemic the earth has ever feared has already infected the human race? What if the only cure for this epidemic is knowledge? Are you willing to educate yourself? Are you willing to take control to protect yourself and your family?